I want to talk to you about what white people see in you that you do not see in yourself.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. And in case you're coming across this channel for the first time, you're also really highly welcome. So, in today's video, in today's episode, I want us to talk about matters Africa. And there's so much we can always talk about Africa. We always talk about Africa in this channel, the liberation of Africa. And I know people might, start questioning, when I say the liberation of Africa, because I believe and I have always believed that Africa really needs liberation, even to date. I mean, we might say colonialism and imperialism ended a few, tens of years ago. But today, as we speak and as we live today, there are still very clear and vivid, obvious, apparent, traces and remains of imperialism in Africa. And you know that if you have always been on this channel, if you have seen our other videos, our previous videos, that this is a topic that I'm so passionate about, the empowering of the African man, the African person, actually the black person, because I believe that, it's not just in Africa that black people, I know, I do not even that I believe, I know that, the black person is everywhere in the world today. And I believe so much in the strength of a black person. Is not that when I say this, it's not that I do not believe in other people, but the black person has for ages been the one that has been on the receiving end of, sort of oppression, especially when it comes to, racial oppression, racial profiling. The black person, people of dark complexion, always suffer and suffer, big time. So we need to ask, as the black person, regardless of whether you're a black person living in Africa or a black person that moved, out of Africa, or those that trace their ways back to, their lineages, their ancestral lineages back to Africa, and living in America, sorry, in Europe, or in Asia, in Australia, or anywhere on this planet, the black person must sit down, ask themselves, tough questions. If we have to beat the oppression, if we have to challenge the oppression and the oppressors, then we have to ask ourselves some critical and important questions like, why, how did it happen, when people say, when did the rain start beating us? We have to find the why did it even happen, and where did it begin, and what was Africa like even before the coming of the white man. And I often love to say that when we know the why, then the how becomes easy and simple. Once you know the reason, then the solution becomes easy. Once you know the problem, then you can get the solution easier. But once you have a problem, but you really don't even know that you have a problem, or you don't know the genesis of that problem, then you have a long way to go, to be able to, solve that problem. So there is a very, very important video that I want to share with you. This is one of, the best videos in terms of asking yourself those important questions. I'm going to share the video, and then we can watch it together and come back and give a critical analysis, or we have a conclusion of some sort um, about these matters, Africa. So let's watch the video. Let's dive into the video, and then we'll come back after the video. So see you on the other side.
I want to talk to you about what white people see in you that you do not see in yourself. I want to talk to you about the power that white people see in you, but you fail to see in yourself. Please allow me to read an address by Lord Macaulay's address to the British Parliament in February 1835. This was in February 1835. It was the 2nd of February 1835. And this is what he said. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my time. I'm not going to take forever, but I just want to break down this thing. And then, what is this man seeing that you are not seeing? And he saw it in 1835, the 2nd of February. He says the following: I have traveled across the length and the breadth of Africa, and I have seen not one person who is a beggar. Why are there so many beggars today? Why are there so many people who are hungry? Why are there so many people who are living in mkukus? Why are there so many people who are resorting to crime? There was a time in our life where that could never be experienced. It was not even possible. And I'm telling you what a white man is saying. Says, I never saw even one beggar. Because these people were a communal people. They would not let anybody go hungry. They loved each other so much. Before capitalism came and grabbed their attention, they took care of each other. And as I traveled along the length and the breadth of Africa, I never saw one beggar. What happened? That there are so many beggars today? What happened? That there are so many criminals today? What happened? That there are 10,000 people in South Africa every day that go to bed. Not 10,000, 10 million people every single day that go to bed without eating. Statistically proven, 10 million people tonight are going to go to bed without food. What happened? What changed? And he says, I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country. Such high moral values. High moral values. And that was before that was even before we embraced the Bible. The moral values were up there. People of such caliber that, now listen to him carefully, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation. Unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. A white man said, we cannot conquer these people until we break their spiritual heritage and their cultural heritage. What did he see in our spiritual heritage that he so desperately wanted to destroy in order for him to conquer us? What did he see in our cultural heritage that he so desperately wanted to destroy in order to overcome us? Oh! He says, therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system. Replace. The way they transfer knowledge from the one to the other. Destroy that. Destroy her culture. Destroy her spirituality. Destroy it. For us to conquer him. What was it? What is it that he saw that was so powerful that unless he destroys it, we will never be his subjects? For if the African thinks that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem. I'll say it again. If the African thinks that all that is foreign and all that is English is good and greater than their own, Bastolelap, where we think that their language is better than ours, their education is better than ours, their culture is better than ours, their God is better than ours, their God is glorious, our ancestors are demons. Bastolelap, Barikria, until you came to a point where you referred to your ancestors as demons. Bautola. Eric Felilit, please don't disappoint me. For if we can convince that all that is African, where am I? Think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem. they will lose their native culture. And listen to this one. And listen to it. And they will become truly what we want them to be. A conquered and dominated nation. What must we do to make them to be a conquered and dominated nation? Today, we are a conquered and dominated nation because they strategized on us. And they broke the backbone of our culture. They broke the backbone of our systems. And they caused us to hate ourselves. Wonder. They caused us to hate ourselves. And they knew if they achieve that, we will be truly a conquered and dominated nation. Today, black people are 81% of the population, controlled by 7% of the population, because they followed this formula. I want you to be a tough black man in your mind. I want you to be a tough black man, not one who's easily influenced by a strategy of a white man who wants nothing good for you, but just to dominate you and conquer you. I'm done. Nchapeleng matsogo. Only mad pastors preach about this. You have to be mad like Anda to talk about this. And I admit I am mad. That's why I talk about this. I'm something.
Yeah, so as you have heard from that video, then you can clearly tell that the black person must, the first step to self-liberation or liberation from racial oppression or oppression of any kind towards the black man, because it's coming in so many forms, the oppression, then we have to decolonize the mind first. First things first. How do we go about this? This video, I love this video because it's uncommon for especially religious, African religious leaders or African Christian religious leaders to really just come out on the spotlight and talk about such critical and sometimes emotive issues like this, because these are emotive issues to Africans. So what must we do as well? As Africans, we must begin, there are a myriad of things that we must do. We must fight the Eurocentric ideology of Africa that placed Africa in the wrong light. When the Europeans came here and went back to their countries eventually, the literature that was written about Africa was always from the eyes of an oppressor, an imperialist, that always deemed Africa as uh, as uncivilized, as low status. It never, I personally have always believed that Africa was never served the justice it deserved by the white man. And well, it's time for the white man to use all avenues possible, including using taking advantage of the white man's resource to claim back its position. We have to go back in time and realize that Africa really existed long before the coming of the white man. The white man came and found people living life in Africa. Today, it's so funny that you go to Africa and people have European names, and that is it's deemed that is, um, it is the thing, it is the popular culture. You have to have kind of a European or Christian name, because even religion in itself, and I have always said in other videos, in my previous videos, that the religion that Africans hold so dear today, that Africans are the major proponents of Christianity and Islam, those are just foreign imported commodities. But today, the African man is much more Christian and much more Islam than even those that imported the religion to us. So another funny thing, you find our very critical physical features, infrastructures being named after people from Europe, um, people from Asia, people from America. We have our landmarks, the lakes. We have lakes named after the dynasties of Europe. Uh, Apparently, the white man was the first man to discover such a place, such a mountain, such a lake, and ridiculously, as if the white person was the first to come and see the lake, and that the black people were not living there for all of their lives. Why is it that now they are giving names, our landmarks given names of apparently the first people to discover? Isn't that really ridiculous? That is exactly where the white man started conquering the black person, subdued and dominated the white person. Our systems of education, we had our systems of education before the white man. I must not be, do not get me wrong. I really personally really believe in cultural diversity, in learning something from somebody, and in teaching somebody something that I know and getting what they have, the exchange programs. I love that. But it should not come at a cost where I impose my ideologies on your ideologies and make yours so inferior look like yours are, your system of education is not just poor, not just backward, but it's wrong. Your religious system is archaic, is evil, is wrong, because that is exactly what the white man did. And that is where the black person need to begin, that we had our own religious values, we had our own very good moral values. People in Africa didn't used to go and sleep hungry, as long as the village people around have food. you know it's good to note that Africa, the fabric, the basic fabric of the African society was communism. We lived as a community. We shared everything that we had. We really knew the importance, the definition of what humanity is supposed to be. today. We share the little we have. We share the most that we have. Nobody is, the human value has not been attached to material things. Has nothing to do with materialism, and that was what African society had been looking like before the invasion of the white man, before the introduction of capitalism, the economic system of capitalism. So let's go back and discover our ways. How did we? And we can merge that with what we have in terms of modernity, including our own languages, because there is when we start to decolonize the mind. Because in Africa, our education systems are in European languages. We have, except for the religious books, which I personally think was also a way of subduing the black person. But the school curriculums have not been translated. Why is it that they translated the Bible into African languages, but the science and maths and any other school curriculum books were not translated? If they could have, if it was possible to translate the Bible from European languages into African languages, then it is very possible to translate science into African languages. Why is it so hard that we can't just teach our own kids, our own children, our own people in our own languages? And we also have not just education and curriculum reforms, but we have to also look into the political system and political sovereignty, because Africans had their leaders. African had a political system even before the existence of the European. And we need to go back and check and celebrate our own ways as a black people. And by doing so, we get to uplift our own self-esteem. We give ourselves, we place ourselves where we deserve to be. We also have things like, what is media representation like in today's world? Is the black person really being given enough? Do we get the spotlight that the white person gets? Do we get equal representation? We must, and this has to begin from the black man. We must not borrow, request. We need to take our position. We need to get our own media to represent us. Fully and equally. We must get equal chances. We must get what we really deserve. And then we have, psychological liberation. When we talk about psychological liberation, is when as the black person, must have, believe in myself, know that, I have to celebrate myself. I have to realize that I am equally as important as any other person, and by doing so, then that is exactly what decolonization of their mind looks like, and and we have to boost our own and reclaim our own self-esteem, self-confidence, self-determination, and recognize the resilience of the African or the black person. And we have to come out to fight the stereotypes that demean the black person, and show the black person in a rightful human, light position that the black person deserves, So that is what I wanted us to share for today. Please share your opinions in the comment section below. like this video and share this video too, so we can reach as many black people, not only black people, but as many people as possible. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please, for more content uh, like this and much more, please consider subscribing to this channel. So until the next video, see you then.